Do you like 5-color? Because I like 5-color. And Jared Cartholian is the perfect card for your 5-color fantasies. I suppose. I don't know. Jared Cartholian costs WUBRG, or white, blue, black, red, and green, if you didn't already know. +1, you create a 3/3 Kavu with Trample, which is awesome. And it's also all colors, which is awesome. Because his -3 ability says choose up to 2 target creatures, and for each of them we'll put a +1/+1 counter out equal to the number of colors it is. So since those Kavus are all 5 colors, they get 5 +1/+1 counters. So we'll put two creatures, so those 3/3 Kavus become 8/8s, just like that. It's wild. It can get pretty crazy. This deck runs a crazy amount of enablers. You'll see why in a second. I think it's really, really cool. All right, let's get into it. So we first have a lot of 5-color things. So we got Chromatic Core. You can bestow it. You don't have to. It costs WUBRG, or you can bestow it for 2 in WUBRG. And the enchanted creature and Chromatic Core itself has flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, and lifelink, and 4/4. So that is pretty good. That's pretty cool. Philagi Wayfarer. It is all colors, but it doesn't affect its color identity, which is very interesting. So this could go in a green deck, for example. Multicolored spells we control have Convoke, and those Kavus can help get those things out because they tap for any color. Fusion Elemental. 8/8 vanilla creature, but an 8/8 for 5 mana is pretty good. And what we care about is the 5-color, because remember, Jared can put 5 +1/+1 counters on this thing, so it could be a 13/13 on turn 5 or whatever it is that you have it out, if we can get it out that fast. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Garth One Eye is a WUBRG creature again, and you can tap it and create Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. So you can choose one of those, and then you create a copy of it, and then you can cast the copy, so whatever we need at the time. You can only cast him once for each instance that he's out, so you've got 5 options that you can cast, but some of them are pretty darn good. So you got removal, you got a creature, you got ramp, you got retrieval, you got card draw, you got everything. So you can tap him and use him and do all sorts of stuff with it. Jensen Cartholian, I think is Jared's grandson or son or something. I don't know. It's fascinating. It's cool. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you scry one. And if that spell was all colors, we'll create a 4/4 angel with flying and vigilance. And then we can filter 5 of any color for WUBRG. So that's pretty darn awesome. That gives us extra things. Knight of New Alara is amazing. Each other multicolored creature we control gets +1/+1 for each of its colors. Basically everything in here just about is all colors. So everything will just have +5/+5. This thing is busted in this deck. Maelstrom Archangel. When it deals combat damage to a player, we can cast a spell from our hand without paying its mana cost. And this thing is another WUBRG creature with flying. That's amazing. Okugachi, Vengeful Kami. 1 in WUBRG, flying and trample, 6/6. When it deals combat damage to a player, if they attacked us during their last turn, we'll exile a non-land permanent they control. So that's kind of, it keeps them from attacking us, right? This is a big, vengeful dragon thing. So it keeps people at bay. Primeval Spawn is nuts. It costs 10 mana, but it's a 10/10 with Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink. And if it would enter the battlefield and wasn't cast, or no mana was spent to cast it, we exile it instead. So it kind of has it's got a downfall, but we'll probably be able to cast it, to be honest. But what's great about it is even if it enters just for free or something like that, if we cheat it out with Maelstrom Archangel, for example, when it leaves the battlefield, we'll exile the top 10 cards of our library, and we can cast any number of spells with mana value 10 or less from among them without paying their mana costs. Just, wow, just so many things we could do with that. And it's a 5-color creature, once again. Scion of Draco is not a 5-color creature, but in fact, it's a 0-color creature. But it's a 12 mana 4/4, which sucks. But it's got flying. No, it's got domain, so it costs 2 less for each basic type. So this will end up costing 10 less with all the basic land types we'll have. And So then it's a 4/4 flying for 2 mana probably. And then each creature we control has Vigilance if it's white, Hexproof if it's blue, Lifelink if it's black, First Strike if it's red, and Trample if it's green. Again, basically all the creatures in here are all those colors, so they're just going to have all of those. Vigilance, Hexproof, Lifelink, First Strike, and Trample. And Life, yeah. Did I say that? Whatever. Yeah, so many things. It's so good. Sphinx of the Guild Pact is all colors, and it's got Hexproof for monocolored. That's pretty awesome. Same with Trans Guild Courier. It's just all colors. It's kind of a nice thing to have as well, because it only costs 4 for the all colors keyword. And Two-Headed Hellkite, 5/5 for 6 mana, 1 in WUBRG, flying Menace Haste. And whenever it attacks, we'll draw 2 cards, which is pretty great in and of itself. Speaking of drawing cards, we got Explore. Play an additional land this turn, really important in WUBRG decks. And we'll draw a card. Forbidden Alchemy. I like this one because we can look at the top 4 cards of our library. Put one into our hand and the rest in our graveyard. And then it's got Flashback. Oh yeah, we didn't go over Jared's last ability, so we can put something in the graveyard. And his ult technically isn't that good, but the second turn he's out, he can do it. So we can return a multicolored card from our graveyard to our hand, but if it's all colors, we'll draw a card and create 2 treasures. So that keeps us running and ramping up and going, and Forbidden Alchemy can help with that. Growth Spiral, draw a card and then put a land out. Loyal Drake, if we control Jared, we'll draw a card during combat. Opt, scry 1, draw a card, great. Painful Truths is probably one of my favorite card draw spells ever. So it's 3 mana, and then we'll draw X and lose X, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast the spell with the Converge ability. And it's probably going to be 3 every single time. I've never cast this for less than 3, I think. Pirate's Prize, we'll draw 2 and then create a treasure. Really good, especially in the 5-color decks. And then Sensei's Divining Top. Look at the top 3, put them back in any order. We can draw a card. Just helps keep ahead. All right, we got 12 enablers. There are so many, but it'll make sense in a second. So Broker's Ascendancy, beginning of our end step, we'll put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. We want to make those Kavus as big as possible and just stomp in. It's going to be awesome. And then we'll put a loyalty counter on each Planeswalker we control. There's 1 Planeswalker in the deck, and it's Jared. Case of the Shattered Pact. When it enters, we'll search for basic land into our hand. So that is just a great ability for 5 color as well, just for 2 mana of colorless. And then so to solve it, we'll have 5 colors among permanents we control, which is really easy to do because you just Jared, Kavu, that's all colors, boom, end step. We'll get it solved, and then at the beginning of a combat on our turn, one of our creatures will get Flying, Double Strike, and Vigilance. People get very scared of this. I've played this on Spell Table a couple times. It is one of the first things to go when I get it out. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so insane. And it really is. That's 3 really good keywords, all in the 5-color creatures. So this could get crazy. We've got 3 talents in here. So we've got Elspeth's Talent, Rowan's Talent, and Teferi's Talent. Elspeth's Talent gives it Elspeth's ability. So you enchant Jared, and we can +1 to make 3 white soldiers, 1/1 white soldiers if we'd like. Or what I like about it is the second ability. When you activate a loyalty ability of Jared, in this case, creatures with control will get +2/+2 and Vigilance until end of turn. This can stack with Rowan's Talent. Rowan's Talent, we don't really care about the first ability. For her second ability, whenever we activate a loyalty ability of Enchanted Planeswalker, we copy that ability. So you can copy this Elspeth. So we activate the loyalty ability. This triggers and gives things +4/+4 in Vigilance. So that it stacks up with that. It'll stack up, give us 2 Kavus. It'll stack up, give us 4 instances of the 5 counters. It's insane. And that stacks as well with Oath of Teferi, because with Oath of Teferi, we flicker something, that's whatever, but then we can activate abilities twice of our Planeswalker. So we're just cranking out Jared like crazy, and that's kind of what the whole deck is built around. Is like keep Jared out, keep him cranking out stuff. And then Teferi's Talent gives it a -12 ability that says you can activate loyalty it gives us an emblem that says we can activate our Jared abilities at instant speed, which is pretty awesome. And then whenever we draw a card, we'll put a loyalty counter on it. But with all that, we've got, we'll go back into the regular stuff. Glass of the Guild Pact, multicolored creatures will control will get +1/+1. So basically everything in the deck is going to get an Anthem effect, which is really cool. Leyline of the Guild Pact. Oh, I pulled this one. I was so happy because it's more expensive than I'd like it to be. But we can put it out for free at the beginning of the game if we have it. And then each non-land permanent we control is all colors. Oh, it's so good. And then so all of our things, lands we control are every basic type, so we don't have to worry about what lands we're tapping. It's so good. Maelstrom Nexus, WUBRG. First spell we cast each turn has Cascade, getting all our stuff out. And a lot of those things, as you saw, cost 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 mana. So things are going to be coming out like crazy. Might of the Nephilim might seem kind of random, maybe, but instant speed, combat trick, target creature gets +2/+2 for each of its colors until end of turn. 2 mana +10/+10. That's pretty good. I love this card. It is, it's insane. Rising of the Day, this just gives all our creatures haste. So the Kafus with haste, and then making them bigger, that can be pretty important. Legendary creatures we control get +1/+0. That's less important, but you know, it's pretty good. And then the Sixth Doctor. Again, maybe random, but if we can so when we cast a historic spell, we copy it, and then the copy is not legendary. So if we have the Sixth Doctor out, we can copy Jared. We got 2 Jareds, cranking out more stuff. Oh, it's so fun. Oh, I love it so much. All right, flex spots. We've got Boros Charm, which can deal 4 damage to a player, or all permanents can gain indestructible, which is very important for Jared. Or we can give our creatures target creature double strike till end of turn, which can be game winning. But yeah, that indestructible bit is very important. Prophetic Prism. I don't know why I put this in the flex spot. It's kind of like a card draw, but it'll draw us a card, which is important, and then it can filter mana. 5 colors is very important. So there's the couple of things there. Maybe that's an enabler, whatever. Unite the Coalition. We can choose 5. It's a WUBRG spell. Instant speed, and we can choose the same one more than once. We can have a permanent phase out. And we can have a target player draw a card. Exile player's graveyard. Unite Coalition can deal 2 damage to any target, and it can destroy an artifact or enchantment. So we can choose one of each. We can double up, triple up on one of those. Lands we probably won't go over too much because lands are whatever. Lands you can do stuff with. Crystal Quarry and Cascading Cataracts are probably the 2 most, or a couple of the most important lands in here, because you can filter any colors into 5 mana of any color, basically. Or of Crystal Quarry is WUBRG, Cascading Cataracts is 5 mana in any combination of colors, which is really important for those specifically 5 mana spells. All right, now let's go to Mass Removal, Child of Alara. That's 5 mana. It's a 5 mana creature. Come on. And it's all colors. It's got trample, and when it dies, we'll destroy all non-land permanents, which sucks for everybody. But we don't have to cast it, so whatever. But it's a 5-color spell, so this could come in handy if we're at the end of our ropes. And Iridium Maelstrom, destroy each creature that is not all colors. Very important. And that's most creatures are not all colors, so it's very, very good in this deck. Our nuanced spots here, we've got All Sun's Dawn. For each color, we return up with 1 target card from our graveyard to our hand. And since all our things are all colors, you can turn basically anything to our hand. Really good. Recollect can just bring something back from our graveyard to our hand, and it's a card, and any card, so that's great. Protection. Curator's Ward. Enchant our permanent, so we're going to enchant Jared probably. Enchanted permanent has hexproof. And if it leaves the battlefield, if it was historic, we'll draw 2 cards. So protection for Jared. Deification is similar, but it's going to give, again, our only planeswalker, Jared. It's going to give it hexproof. And as long as we control creature, if damage was dealt to him, that damage, all but 1 loyalty counters are removed when it's dealt damage. So it protects him for as long as possible. It's fantastic. Lazotep plating, just instant speed. Amass 1, I don't really care about that, but it'll give all our permanents and us hexproof until end of turn. Very important. All right, and the ramp stuff here, we got Arcane Signet, Chromatic Lantern, Chromatic Orrery, same thing. Fabro Elder is great. Gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents we control. For each color among permanents we control, it'll add 1 mana of that color. So it'll just tap for WUBRG. It's really good. Farseek, just going to search for lands. Same with Kodama's Reach. I think that's fine. Gigantha, the Wellspring, taps for WUBRG. Very important once again. Path to the World Tree, this one will just enter, search for basic into our hand. Then we can sacrifice it later for some extra, gaining 2, drawing 2, some damage, make a bear. I haven't used that very often, but I mostly use it for finding the basic lands that I need. Open the Way, really good card if you haven't seen this card. So it's X green, sorcery X can't be greater than the number of players in the game. So it's gonna be 4 max, probably. We'll reveal the top cards of our library until we reveal X land cards. Not the top X cards, but the top X lands, and we'll put those lands on the battlefield tapped. Dumping out some lands, it's awesome. Soul Ring, of course. Add 2 mana. Solemn Simulacrum, search for any basic, and then dies to draw a card. Tome of the Guild Pact, whenever we cast a multicolor spell, we'll draw a card. Again, lots of things are multicolored. And then it taps for any color. And then Wayfarer's Bauble is going to search for another basic. So we got targeted removal. We got Echoing Truth. So the theme in this deck is removing things, multiple copies of things, because there's not many ways to deal with that kind of thing. So Echoing Truth returns a non-land permanent and all permanents with that same name to their owner's hands. Because there's no way we can keep track of all the, say somebody makes 1,000 tokens of something, we just return them all to our hand, out of their hand for 2 mana. Same with Legions to Ashes. Excuse me, it will exile non-permanent and opponent controls and all tokens with the same name as that permanent. So it by itself is great, but also exiling all the extra things can be really great as well. Again, Maelstrom Pulse, same thing. Straight on permanent and all permanents with the same name. Legacy Weapon. Come on, this had to be in there. WUBRG, exile target permanent, and if it would be shuffled, or if it would be put in the graveyard from anywhere, we'll reveal it and shuffle it into our library. And then we got Mana Cannons. When we cast a multicolor spell, we'll deal X damage to any target where X is the number of colors. That spell is 5 damage every time we do something, basically. Path to exile something, and search for a basic. Self-explanatory. And then Soul Guide Lantern. This one I thought was really good because we can exile graveyards, which is very important, and I think it's something that is overlooked a lot of the time, but it has screwed me in the past to not be able to remove a graveyard. So yeah, so I put it in. All right, anyway, what do you guys think of the deck? Is this something that you're interested in? Is this something that you like? Because I love this deck so much. Jason loves this deck too. He just loves it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure if you like these cards, pick them up with the TCGplayer affiliate link below, and pick up those Playmats and Proxies down below as well in that affiliate link. And make sure you join me next week for your weekly dose of Magic.